Toby's Discovery is the 14th episode of the 5th series of Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. It's another one of those episodes that gives Toby the Tram Engine and the Fat Controller a major role in an episode. But is Toby's discovery really a discovery worth discovering? Let's dive right in. The Fat Controller and his family are on holiday and ask Toby to take them around Sodor. While stopping at the beach near Norrumby Church Station, Stephen and Bridget make a sandcastle modelled on a castle in the heart of Sodor. Intrigued, the Fat Controller asks Toby to take them to find it. They approach a signalman who instructs them to switch the points when they reach a junction. They do just that, and Toby puffs and pushes past branches and bushes. He finds another split junction, with one track leading to the castle and the other to a mine. They visit the castle first and then the rundown mine. Everything on the mine has been left rusty and overgrown since it was closed. The Fat Controller decides to reopen the mines and the castle for visitors, but Toby is not sure about that. When the plans to reopen the castle and the mines start with construction, Toby is convinced that the mines are haunted and is spooked by Thomas's cheeky tale of the old warrior who haunts the mines during the night. Once night falls, Toby is horrified to be put on guard duty at the mines. Then he hears a strange chuffing and wheezing sound and gets scared, believing the old warrior has come to hunt him down. After his driver and fireman return from investigating, they tell Toby that the old warrior wants to meet him. Toby is at first reluctant to, but he bravely chuffs forward and discovers that the ghost is really a narrow-gauge engine named Bertram, who was given the nickname Old Warrior because of his bravery and left abandoned in the mine for several years. The two become friends, Bertram is restored, and when the castle and mine reopen, both engines bring visitors to the areas. The episode introduces us to the old warrior himself, Bertram, another character who only made one appearance and then was never seen again afterwards. Not much is known about Bertram's personality. However, it is said that he is very brave and that he and Toby are firm friends. Toby states that if there are any ghosts at the mine, they certainly help to make the place very happy. Bertram is based on the Festiniog Small England Class 404 ST+T locomotives, the same base as of Duke. According to a Sodor Island fan sites interview with Stephen Asquith, Bertram was supposed to have his own model, but financial difficulties led the crew to repaint Duke's model with Smudge's face. And a hint of what he could have looked like comes from Bertram's original wooden railway toy, which depicts him as a tank engine. He was later redesigned with an added tender in 2016. It's really interesting to hear that Bertram was originally going to be a tank engine, but then became the same basis as Duke due to budget constraints. And I can only assume that Wooden Railways was given the sketches for Bertram's original design before the episode was put into production. So they weren't to know that Bertram had changed designs until it was too late. This episode also marks the second major appearance of the Fat Controller's grandchildren, Stephen and Bridget, who hadn't had a major role since Toby and the Stout Gentleman back in Series 1. And it's really nice to see the nice, soft, off-duty side of the Fat Controller for a change. Since we're so used to seeing him being the head of the railway, it's really nice to have him just take time off and have a holiday with his family. Though it is quite funny how Lady Hat doesn't join them on the holiday in this episode. But when we get to a later episode for this series, you'll probably see why. It's just really nice for the Fat Controller to just put his feet up for a change and not have to worry about running the railway. It's one of those touches that makes him more human than he already is, reminding everyone that there's more to him other than his strict head of the railway persona. During the adventure to the castle and the mine, a combination of Toby and Oliver's themes can be heard, and I really love this combination. It just sounds so adventurous to me. If I was going on a long walk to find an old castle or summit, then this is the kind of music I'd want to travel to. And I'm sure I've seen some fans of the Thomas community speculate that the old mine in the episode is actually the Mid-Sodor Railway where Duke, Stewart and Falcon used to work. And that honestly would make sense since their line did close down, and it would be left overgrown since then. Even though it's not really confirmed in this episode, it's a really good theory to go by. And I think it really would make sense in universe, since there are narrow gauge and standard gauge lines. So it makes sense that it probably would have been Duke's old railway. I also love how this episode is sort of half and half, where you have the first half being an exploring adventurous episode, and then the second half being a spooky type episode, with the first half of Toby and the Fat Controller and his family going on an adventure to find a castle, and then when they discover the mine, the spooky aspect starts, with the music turning eerie in places, and even having a scene set at night where everything looks spooky within the fog. And we get to see the cheeky side of Thomas in this episode as well. Even though he's matured since the first series, he still has a little cheekiness to him, but never to a point where it's the same level as he was in series 1. I see it as more like a younger sibling taunting an older sibling in a friendly sort of way type of thing, showing that while Thomas has indeed grown and matured over the years, he still has that cheeky side to him, but never to the point where it's the same way as it was back in series 1. It's just a lovely touch seeing that Thomas still has that cheekiness to him despite growing up over the years. Great touch there. And the old castle is one of the most impressive and eye-catching models I've seen in the TV series at this point. Coming from a guy who's seen a lot of castles in his times in various towns and countries, this is really eye-catching to me. It just puts me in mind of seeing all those castles that I've been to on my travels over the years. And I find it a real shame that we never got to see this particular castle on Sodor again after this episode. But I love its transformation from being an old abandoned relic to a beautifully restored building for visitors to go see. It's just a really lovely way to show more of the island that we haven't seen yet at this point. Definitely one of the most eye-catching sights on Sodor, especially if you're into old castles. Toby's discovery is definitely an adventure worth going on. It has all the great things that you'd expect to see in a Thomas episode like this. Bright colours, dark tones, dreary night atmospheres, and the beautiful countryside of Sodor, as well as getting to see more of the island. It's also a great well-written introduction to a one-off character that's definitely not to be missed, especially if you love adventures and exploring. This is definitely the episode to go to.